Welcome back. You're still watching Market View, sponsored by the Eswatini National Petroleum Company. Thank you for staying with us. The Central Bank of Eswatini has capped the prime lending rate at 11%, which will see no relief in loans borrowed by Emaswati in different financial institutions. The prime lending rate has remained the same since July 2023. The Central Bank has also highlighted again that different sectors are struggling to service debts. We are now joined by Terrence Thwala, who is a financial literacy advocate, to talk to the latest monetary policy statement, which was released by the Central Bank last week, Friday. A very good afternoon. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Thwala. As I've said, CBE released the monetary policy statements last week. How is it impacting the consumer?
Afternoon, Lulu, and afternoon to the viewers at home. Basically, we can say, as you have correctly stated, there is no change. So if they are keeping the repo rate at 7.5, it means the prime rate will still remain at 11, of which whosoever was having an ongoing loan with at any commercial bank in the kingdom, they are still going to be paying the same amount. Yeah. But we stand to in anticipation of what will happen on the next meeting of the committee, because we believe a bit that it was influenced by the political atmosphere in South Africa. And now that the voting in South Africa is over and the next meeting of the committee, we're not sure what's going to happen.
Yeah, and nothing has changed. Interest rate now has remained unchanged. What does this mean for that person that owes the bank? Loan a bank. Can we expect this trend to continue?
Yes, when we talk about the central bank talks to the repo rate, which is the repurchase rate, or the rate at which they borrow the commercial banks at, which is 7.5. Yeah. Then the commercial banks then further borrows the individual Emaswati and businesses at prime rate. So if the repo rate changes, which if they changed either upward or downward, the 7.5 to 8 or to 6 point something, it was going to affect the installment that the individuals or the businesses were paying, of which now everybody that is paying any installment will still pay the same installment, which is good news to anyone with an ongoing loan.
Okay, so and also inflation now also remains unchanged. Nakwana, what does this mean for the consumer?
Inflation, it remains unchanged, but the very same statement is talking to an anticipation of increasing from the 4.1, which it is ongoing now, to 4.5 around November. But it means the food prices are a little bit stable, because it is on the lower side, though we are anticipating that it will, as it has been stated, it will change. The inflation means basically talking to the prices of food, to say we will still be anticipating to buy at the more or less the same level at which we are paying for food now.
Okay, saying go to your financial literacy advocates, my finances, go advisor. Ufuna spoken mhlambe on savings plans, savings rule, good rule about 30%, 70%. Ufuna sibuke lokuthi vele as consumers, because njengoba sisho ukuthi vele umnotho tonke team for tidulile tiyabita sinetikweleti ngalapha nangapha, we have so many debts, we owe so many people. Saving, why is it important to save? Senda kanjani masifuna ku save? What's the first step?
Yeah, a complicated one, which we need to unpack. A lot of people are in debt. So I personally always advise people not to save or invest when you're in debt. Because the truth is, whatsoever you are earning through your investments, it's always lower than you will earn when you are paying off debts. So I always say people must prioritize paying off debt first, then investing or saving later. But to those who are still financially okay, they can go ahead and invest, because the same inflation and the prime rate that hasn't changed is talking to investment also, to say the investment will also continue giving us the same investment returns, which from the investment houses, they go from 7.5 to others to 11. So we are encouraging those who still have some residual income to continue investing because the returns are much better currently. But if you are having debt, I always say it's best you clear your debt first, then invest a substantive amount, which will give you quicker returns than to be going out there and investing 200 Temalang and earning 3 cents on it a month. So it doesn't help.
Yeah. So how do we even get there, you know, having so many debts? I think we note that the cost of living is too high, and how do we even get there? And how can we shift away from it?
The truth of the matter is, as long as we live our lives beyond our means to be validated by people, we will always be doing things that we don't need with money that we don't have. So you find yourself that you are taking debts for things that you could otherwise have avoided, but you need to maintain a certain standard of living. So we encourage people to accept who they are, accept their salaries, and try to live within their means. The day you live within your means, it is the day you will realize probably that life is not as expensive as you think. And when you realize that life is not expensive as you think, then you will be left with something to invest. But more than that, we always encourage people to do something more. We have 24 hours in the day. 8 hours for your 8 to 5, the other 8 hours for your side hustle or business, and then you can rest the other 8 hours. So whenever I talk to people, we always fail to account for the second 8 hours. What do you do between when you knock off at 5 to 12 midnight? You need to be doing something extra. Then you will definitely have something extra to invest.
All right. So take us through the savings plans rule. When you want to save, there's a certain amount like we save to month end. What is the rule?
All right, thank you. There are so many budgeting methods, but I prefer the 50, 30, 20 rule of budgeting, where we say out of your net pay, which means your gross minus statutory deductions, that is your pension, your medical aid, and your ENPF. So whatsoever money that remains there, you take 50% of it and you cover your basic needs. When we talk about your basic needs, we mean your food, your shelter, your transport, your school fees, and everything. Then the 30% then talks to covering the necessities, but what we call your wants, not needs, to make your life comfortable, to be living as someone who is working. But that one is controlled by you. And the 20% remaining, we then say people must invest 10% of it, and 10% must cover debt. So you see, out of 100%, your debt percentage must be 10% or up to 20% if you are not investing. So the problem then starts from when someone is having debts more than the 30%, which is now, because we say when you are in trouble, the least you can do is not to have entertainment, but have 30% debts and investment, then you still are fine, but not in a comfortable position. So why do we say people must take 50% of their net income and cover needs? We say that because if your needs are covered, you are less likely to fall into unplanned debts. You have food, you bought electricity, you bought water, you have transport money, you have school fees. So what possibly can make you borrow unplanned money? The possibility of that is close to zero. That is why then I prefer this method.
All right. So do you actually have people that practice this rule? Is it even practical?
Very much practical. I use it every day. I use it every day. You are earning 10,000. Take your 5,000 goes to your needs. Your 3,000 goes to your, that is what we call the entertainment. Then your 2,000 goes to your debts and investments. See the rate for debts and investments. It's only 20%. Because there is another problem where you find people over-investing. You find that people that take 5,000 of 10,000 to investments, fixed investment for that matter, and whenever life gives them now things to attend with their money, they don't have money, then the cycle of unplanned debt starts because you have money but you can't access your money. We always say have investments enough, have debts enough to service within your salary.
Yeah, because financial literacy advocates like you, Mr. Thwala, have been advising people to save money, to budget and to plan. You find that some have multiple saving streams. Is that advisable? Is it safe to do that?
It is the stretch. How much have you stretched yourself? Should something unplanned, any risk occurs, can you survive? That is the question you need to ask yourself, because you also need to have it at the back of your mind that whenever you commit today for a 10-year long-term investment, the premiums for the very same investment will increase for the years until maturity. So if you are starting with 1,500 emalangeni today and the premium will increase by 5-6%, will you cope with the annual increment? Because that is when we will then say you have over committed on the investment. Don't invest because you think you have money today, but think of things that can happen, or most definitely that will happen. Let me say you have just started working. You will want to get married in the 10 years. You will want to have a baby in the 10 years. You will want to have a car. So many things. So don't commit money that you will need in the 5th year, because people end up harvesting their investment prematurely and losing what the investment were meant to get them.
All right, quick one, 30 seconds just before I let you go. Is it advisable to consolidate all your debts? Yes, is it helpful in a way?
Yes, it is. But provided you are owing official banks, because the trick of consolidation, we mean when the bank clears your debt, it must clear all your debt so that you can focus on the bank alone. But you find that people have unregistered debts, they owing everyone outside, and you consolidate, the bank consolidate what is official and documented, and they are still owing Bomashonis outside there. Even if they've consolidated, because the consolidation will lower your monthly installment, but still you will take the remaining amount and pay Bomashonisa. So you need to make sure you avoid these unregistered and unregulated credit providers.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you for your time, Mr. Thwala. That was Mr. Thwala, who is a financial literacy advocate, just giving us his advice on how to plan, how to budget, and how to save. The central bank released their monetary policy statement last week. As we look at the financial markets this afternoon.